Welcome back. You're still on Expresso right here on S3 and Mzansi. It's time for us to have an important conversation. A defamatory video has recently been making rounds online, making bold claims that the National Lottery is being manipulated and there's insider involvement. This, of course, has allowed us to get to this point where we feel we need to have a conversation and actually speak to our family at the lottery. And today, we're being joined by Michelle van Trotzenberg, the Head of Marketing and Corporate Affairs at ITHUBA, who's here to help us understand these allegations, but more than anything else, set the record straight. Michelle, how are you?
I'm well, thank you. Thank you, Zanelli, for having us today on your show.
Of course. And Michelle, I'm so glad that we get to sit down and actually have this conversation, because you always need to actually hear it from the horse's mouth.
Absolutely.
Yes. So let's get right into it, because this specific video that's going all around social media, you know, it suggests that lottery results are being rigged and manipulated for insiders. Can you talk to us a little bit about this? You know, is there any truth to it at all?
Absolutely not, Zanelli. It's completely false information. It feels almost like a smear campaign, and it's a complete attack on people's integrity, the people that are playing the National Lottery in hope of winning a big jackpot.
Yeah.
So it really is, you know, an opportunity for us to come through today and actually set the record straight.
100%. And Michelle, I think one of the really terrible things as well is that the video mixes in some facts like names, dates, and investigations, you know, with some sweeping accusations, which are very unfair. But why is this so problematic?
It's problematic because it almost feels like it's real. So the information, they're mishmashing the information. It's complete mishmash of half-truths, one-sided stories. And, you know, social media is a completely faceless medium. So there's nobody that is actually owning the content, and it has major, huge brand repercussions. It actually is affecting people's ability to want to play the National Lottery. A lot of people have said, oh, are you sure we can play? So it really is affecting a national brand. The National Lottery is a brand that is created specifically to generate revenue for good causes. And that money goes towards NGOs. It goes towards sports, education, you know, very worthy causes. It's not a normal brand where, you know, we're just selling for profits. We are actually changing lives through jackpot winnings as well as your good causes.
That's so true.
It's so true, and it's such a beautiful brand.
And I mean, we've all seen the great work that you guys are doing, just like you said, with the NGOs and even just some of the really great initiatives that you do. But let's jump on into the fact that, you know, some people are claiming that the anonymity of winners is a loophole for fraud. What does ITHUBA say to this?
It's also not true. I mean, one of the biggest stories that came through on the video was the fact that most of the winners are coming from FNB and ABSA, which is completely not accurate. If you look at the winners that we've created over the last couple of years during our tenure, we've had over 500 multi-millionaires created. And there's people that are coming from your retail space. I mean, our biggest jackpot winner, the Powerball jackpot, who won 232 million, he bought his ticket in a retail store in Cape Town. We've had big winners like 167 million that came from a retailer in Durban. Our most recent winner was an ABSA winner. But it's also very important to remember that ABSA and FNB have been part of our partnership with the National Lottery even before our tenure. So they were the two banks that started to sell tickets, and then the other banks have joined on along the journey. So it's a half story, half-baked story, and it's really important that people understand when they say only coming from those banks, that's completely inaccurate. We have winners that come from retail space, from the banking platforms, as well as our website.
And that is why you have so many options for people to, you know, play on, right? But also talk to me about how the video alleges systems were weakened to almost bypass identity checks. You know, how secure are your systems exactly?
They're very secure. We know we've got two completely separate systems. We've got a central lottery system, which is where all the tickets that are purchased across all the different mediums goes into one system. Then we have a separate system that is not attached in any way. So once we close our sales at 8:30, we then fire up an RNG, which is a worldwide accredited platform, which is a platform that has been utilized by lotteries around the world. The RNG system, which is actually one of the systems that is used for multiple games, even your gambling games, you know, those type of games. So it literally is a random generator of numbers that fires up. So there's no connection between the two systems. So once the RNG is fired up, we get the winning numbers, and that is published on TV. So we do still have live draw shows. It is a digital draw show because it is completely limited to minimal human intervention, which is exactly what the trust is. And that is why the draw machines is such an important part of our draw process, using a system that is completely accurate and also trustworthy. And only then, after we've had the draw numbers on the air, are we then able to verify the winners. So at that point, we have no idea where the winners are.
Yes, and just like you said, you know, leaving as much to the systems.
Absolutely.
100%.
And there's been stories that we're choosing winners. We're not choosing winners.
And with that being said, Michelle, you know, after all of these clarifications, and thank you so much for them, what is your one final message that you'd like to say to the public of South Africa?
So we always talk about protecting children against social media. I think we also need to start educating people that are watching, adults watching social media, that not everything is true. There's always a reason behind a hatred or a faceless comment. And educate yourself and get the facts from the right places.
Beautiful. And thank you that we were able to get the facts from the actual people themselves. Thank you for coming in. We appreciate it. And thank you for setting the record straight.
Thank you very much.
Of course. So, Mzansi, you heard it here on Expresso, all in the name of making sure that we understand that that specific video that is doing the rounds on social media, it is a falsehood and it is no truth to it at all. And of course, my friend, at the end of the day, it's natural for people to ask questions about systems. But this is why we then sit down and get the full picture. We get to understand what exactly is going on. And of course, it is all based on facts and transparency at the end of the day. And that's how we were able to sit down with our ITHUBA family and understand it from a perspective of theirs. A big thank you to Michelle and the ITHUBA team. And of course, we're able to clear up that confusion 100% this morning on Expresso. For now, let's check out what's happening all around the world in your news headlines.